Hi, everybody.
Who the hell cares?
That's a liberal.
It's like saying, would you rather have wine or water?
Wine, a half inch, means a lot sometimes.
Nobody likes to eat crow. Right.
Now I'm starving.
How much is the economy today? It's that much.
This pumpkin latte sucked, and I want to speak to your manager.
Objection, hearsay. Objection, leading. Objection, hearsay.
Where is that woman when Biden speaks?
Get the hell out of here. His name is pronounced Joni. And that's the end of it.
I forgot to change the beginning of the show.
To what?
You wanted me to change it to the lady dancing.
Oh, I was kidding.
To the Elaine. Hello, Ralph Rubinek. How are you?
Oh, my grandma's here.
Grandma Joe.
I love you more.
Debbie Lebedo. And our OG, Lucille Chavone. How are you? All right. We may have a light audience today. I don't know. Oh, well, we're seeing them. Okay. Hello, Mickey Patrides. It was so good to see you, Mickey. Both you and your mom. It was a great visit. And we have Beer Nut with us and Francine. Oh, I hope you're not driving while you're watching from the car.
It's so boring. I mean, she has a better chance of falling asleep. So
no, God forbid. I hope you're wearing your seatbelt. Good evening, Mick 40 and Angela Ricca. Ramon is with us. Hello, Ramon. And the professor. And your grandmother loves you longer, Jen.
She does. She wins.
Oh, she's a passenger. Okay. Well, we're going to try and keep the signal strong for you tonight, Francine, and so that you don't lose us. And you shouldn't lose us because we have a pretty good show tonight. Jenny, how are you doing today?
Wonderful. And you?
I'm doing great. Listen, I'm retired and I live in a red state. I'm a happy camper.
Well, good for you. We don't have a commissioner. The FBI is raiding everyone's houses. Our health guy is leaving.
Hey, do you think that the FBI raids on Adams has to do with his relationship with P. Diddy?
No, it has to do with Turkey.
And Israel. Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing to do with P. Diddy. Kamala Harris has. I sent you the photo of her with P. Diddy. Party.
Yeah, but Adams was hanging out with P. Diddy a lot. He gave P. Diddy the keys to the city. So
he took it back.
Oh, he did? Okay.
It was a bad breakup.
Hi, Billy. I want my keys back. That's a whole different type of key.
And my flannel.
Adams has violated the Logan Act. I'm sure he violated more than that. The cards are falling here in New York. Yeah. The cards are falling. They are, but now who's your public advocate in New York now?
Oh, Jumaane Williams.
Oh my Lord. Is he? He's still there. Oh, well,
isn't he?
He
is. No.
Then he becomes the mayor.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh, now we see why they're investigating Adams. Did Svetlana fly in with Zelensky to campaign for Kamala? Yeah, where is Svetlana, Jen?
Svetlana's dead. She got taken by Russian, the UKB. What is it?
KGB.
KGB.
Oh, Adams was giving the progressives lip. He was beginning to give them problems. Yeah, well. Hello, Ms. Mahoney. How are you? And I gave your present to Marge, and she loved it. And as soon as I give her your number, you'll receive it. Thank
and
you.
I text Marge, and she didn't answer me.
Oh, well, she's having a birthday month, so she's been very, very busy. Okay. Ever since Adams flew to D.C. about the migrants, he got investigated. Yeah, he didn't even make it there, and they started investigating him. NKVD, KGB, FSB. The professor has all of the alphabets here. Okay, so anyway, today our show is called Hoax and Jokes for good reason. We're going to kind of pull apart. I doubt anybody watched the 90-minute Oprah Winfrey kind of sort of fake interview with Kamala Harris. Did you watch it, Jem?
No.
Did you even see clips?
No. Do I care?
Good reason. Well, it was the only interview she's given, Kamala Harris, other than that ABC interview, since she decided to run for office. So Spirit Airlines was very good to us yesterday. Oh, well, that's great. Spirit is not sponsoring this show, but I am very glad that they treated you well.
The show is just as bad as Spirit Airlines.
No, I like Spirit.
Yes, it
Saw the clips. Oprah, her face told the story. Well, I thought that we would kind of break things down a little bit. But first, before we do that, did maybe you guys saw this? Did everybody see Joe Biden on stage with the Prime Minister of India? Did you see it, Jen? Oh, well, watch. He had one job. One job. Give a speech and introduce the Prime Minister of India. Watch what happened.
Nothing beyond our capacity when we act together, not even beating cancer. And that's what this group is about today. So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
By the way, he's from a small country like ours, with slow population, but he's become a good and decent man and a good friend.
Thank you.
Saved by the voice of God. Who's next? I guess his vision's going too, huh? Wow. And they said that we were a laughing stock when Trump was president.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he doesn't know where he is, what he's doing, what he's supposed to be doing. He can't even carry out the simplest of duties. And today, did you see Israel bombed Lebanon, Beirut, and got one of the head Hezbollah guys? And there was nobody to talk about it. Not Kamala, not Joe. Nobody's running our government. Did you hear about it? Was there any new breaking news conferences? I didn't see it. I didn't see it anywhere.
No, the breaking news was that the COVID czar stepped down because of his parties with P. Diddy.
Because why?
He's partying with P. Diddy naked during COVID.
The COVID czar?
Yeah, the not the one from New York, the head guy, the Indian guy. I don't know. That skinny Indian guy.
Not the. Why can't I think of it?
Somebody help me. I had 3 hours sleep last night.
Okay. I didn't.
Dr. V.
Dr. V. Okay. Interesting.
They caught him on tape talking about partying naked during COVID with P. Diddy.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to have to look this up. If Kamala is campaigning, who's running the country? Biden? No, well, Biden was never running the country. Neither was Kamala. So we have nobody. It's the deep state is running the country. Whatever is getting done right now, which is not much, is being done by...
Besides inflation.
Yeah. He forgot who he was introducing. He forgot what he was doing entirely. And he got pissed. Yeah, he did get pissed, Deb. He juiced up. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Hi, Chris. Who's on first? Yeah. Third base. It's crazy. He's so nasty. He's Alzheimer's. Yeah, he's got irritation. Isn't that guy who wears the Donald Trump hat? Isn't that the guy who wears the Donald Trump hat? Which guy? Help, Ramon. Who's next? He works at a fast. Maybe he's working at McDonald's because he's not in the White House. That's for sure. Biden seems worse every time he talks. Indeed. Dr. V. I don't know who Dr. V is. Hi, ladies. November can't come soon enough. Hi, Gloria. I agree. It's already started. People are voting, so we're into it. New York City DOE.
Yep, Banks is done at the end of the year.
Oh my God, not Fauci. No, that's who I was thinking of, Deb. Okay.
They already raided the police commissioner of New York during his first week. They raided his house. Meanwhile, he used to work for the FBI. So go figure.
Yes, I heard Jill was running a cabinet meeting, and I also saw something on the White House that had Joe Biden's signature and Jill's signature too. I don't know if it was the official White House stationery or what. And the question was, why is her signature on that stationery? I don't know. She ran the cabinet meeting and said nothing. Oh my God. Hi, Cynthia. Good to see you Saturday, Cynthia. And Joe Biden, who wore the Donald Trump hat. Oh, yeah. Somebody gave him the Donald Trump hat and he put it on. Hello there, Susan Durema. Yes, she signed a document. Oh, I can't.
Yeah, she's his emergency. What's that person called? You could sign their stuff, the authorized.
Yes.
Not proxy.
Yeah, well, okay. He oh my God. I have Joe Biden's disease. He has power of attorney.
She's his guardian.
Power of attorney. Jill has power of attorney. Yeah, there you go. Gloria got it. Biden should secretly vote for Trump to get back at them. He probably will. Okay. So anyway, so now I want you. All right, this is a long one, and it might be hard to watch. I hope we don't lose viewers. But
lose me.
This was Kamala's pitch to independent voters from the Oprah Winfrey 90-minute interview.
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American. And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us. Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that. That's how we came into being. Because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism, is to fight for the ideals of who we are, which includes freedom to make decisions about your own body, freedom to be safe from gun violence, freedom to have access to the ballot box, freedom to be who you are and just be, to love who you love openly and with pride, freedom to just be.
Yeah. Don't do it. Could you imagine if she gets elected? We're going to have these Academy Award speeches on everything. And the award for Best Actress pretending to be president goes to Kamala
Oprah
Harris.
was like, bitch, please.
Interesting.
Oh.
I love that you called the founding fathers the people who came before us, and the founding fathers had the vision to allow for abortions and for transgender and for gay rights and for all these and to just be. Oh really? Oh my! Oh that clip got us a lot of commentary. Oh my gosh, dunce. Oh my God. Dreams are now nightmares because of her. Absolutely. When is her sex tape going to be released? Yeah, really. How many do you think there are? There's got to be a bunch of them. Oh, I forgot to do something. Oh, I left my phone in the. I think Kamala's always on Xanax. Gives her joy. Yeah. Yeah, gives her joy. She's dodging questions while Trump is dodging bullets. Excellent. That's excellent. She swims in applesauce. Listening to all her word salad, I lost 5 pounds. Oh, excellent. Oh, we're funny tonight. She wins the Academy Award. She should have gone into acting 100%. Here's her award. That's it. The Kamala Harris Award. Oh, my gosh. For the last 3.5 years, our own kids don't know what they are and freedom from criminals, period. Exactly. Freedom to ballot box to cheat. Yes. Who are the people in the back? Who knows? But boy, oh boy, it was just a whole bunch of, well, you'll see there's more, but okay. Did you hear about Proposition 1? Go ahead, Debbie. Gun violence is caused by criminals with guns because gun control doesn't apply to criminals. Absolutely. We say it every week. Jen says it. The definition of criminal.
When you take guns, when you outlaw guns, the only people who will have guns are
outlaws. P. Diddy gave a new meaning to the slip and slide game. Oh, gosh. Oprah tries to steal one of my quotes. Okay. Well, so did you hear about what's happening in New York? The same thing that's happening in Colorado, only it's been happening for a lot longer. Watch this.
Well, basically what you just said right there, this is one of the NYPD's biggest challenges right now. Now, the NYPD expects the migrant Venezuelan gang crimes to actually get worse in this city before it gets better.
They're waving the guns around.
Correct.
Waving guns and flashing gang signs on this video. The NYPD says these are suspected members of the ruthless Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, which has been infiltrating the U.S. for the last 2 years. NYPD Assistant Chief of Detectives Jason Savino telling me it is believed this video was made while the gang members were in Ecuador, and its purpose is to recruit new members.
Then, when you fast forward, you see the same individuals where? In Times Square. So that's our concern.
The NYPD says Tren de Aragua has been making it over the border with the migrant influx and is getting established in New York.
What we do see is they are trying to grow.
The gang has gone from petty crimes like shoplifting and stealing cell phones and jewelry to all-out shootouts in the streets. Alleged gang member Bernardo Raul Mata recently confessing to police that gang members are being instructed to shoot police officers. Mata is charged with shooting 2 officers after they stopped him for riding a moped the wrong way on a one-way street in Queens. In court, an assistant district attorney revealing what Mata told investigators about the gang.
Tren de Aragua members are smuggling firearms into city shelters inside food delivery packages. That way they don't have to go through the metal detector.
Guns being smuggled into migrant shelters in food delivery packages that are not being screened. The gang violence is escalating, and now drugs are coming into the picture.
We're just starting to see a drug called Tusi, which is a pink cocaine type substance.
It seems like this is a huge challenge.
It's as big of a challenge as we faced.
I can't wait to see people walking around with pink all over their nose instead of... How are you going to explain that one?
I did the Watusi.
And who sent who showed all of this to the chief of detectives last year? Me.
Mm-hmm. And here they are. Those gangs that aren't there. Those pretend gangs supposedly that Donald Trump is lying about. Oh. Yes, I heard that, Billy. I heard that Jason was in trouble. Used to work for the borough president, Jason. I understand he's under investigation too. Thank God. I believe this lived this long so I could see what the children of the smokehead hippies turned into. Bobby McKenna, I thought you were watching basketball.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
tired that I thought it said smokehead nipples. That's how tired.
Thanks for joining us, Bob. Soft on crime policies creates casualties. Yes. It is listed as equal rights, but it takes away rights of parents for kids to multilateral mutilate their bodies, and men in women's sports and in restrooms. Also, they can sue churches if they want to get married in their churches, even if their faith doctrine does not support it. Vote on number 5. Oh, is that in New York? The Prop 1? It must be. The Dems Marxist ideology is chaos all over the USA. This has to stop. Yeah, well, but according to some people, none of this is actually happening. Ecuador has all the gun laws. Kamala and the Democrats want the criminals are better armed than law enforcement. It's drug related. Absolutely. Pink on their noses from Victoria's Secret store. Okay. So Prop 1, everybody, when you go to vote, make sure you vote against Prop 1. Officials who don't hold criminals accountable and doesn't admit that their policies created this are no better than criminals themselves. Indeed. But again, supposedly this wasn't happening. So now listen to the joke of Kamala Harris, or the hoax of Kamala Harris answering on Oprah the question about the border. Watch.
What would be specific steps to strengthening the border?
So it's a wonderful and important question. My background was as a prosecutor, and I was also the elected attorney general for 2 terms of a border state. So this is not a theoretical issue for me. This is something I've actually worked on. Okay. I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I take very seriously the importance of having a secure border and ensuring the safety of the American people. Sadly, where we are now can be traced most recently back to the fact that when the United States Congress, members of the Congress, including some of the most conservative Republicans, came up with a border security bill. And here's what that border security bill would have done. It would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border. Let me tell you, those border agents are working around the clock. It would have just been about giving them some support and relief, which is probably why the border agents actually endorsed the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl. And I'm looking at people from all over the country here, so I don't need to tell the folks who are watching this what fentanyl has done to families, to kids in our country, and the need to take seriously stemming the flow coming into our country and addressing that extraordinary and tragic issue in terms of its effect. The bill would have allowed us to have more resources to prosecute transnational criminal organizations. And it would have been part of the solution. And Donald Trump called up those folks and said, don't put that bill on the floor for a vote. He blocked the bill, and you know why? Why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And he has put his personal political security before border security. Because understand, even in the intervening months, what that bill would have done to give support to folks who care about this issue. And this again gets to the point about what does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people? Right. Is it about running on problems or fixing problems? My work and my career has always been about saying, let's fix problems. Let's address the needs, because we know it's within our capacity to do that.
So to answer Justin's question, now that that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely. And when I am elected president of the United States, I will make sure that bill gets to my desk and I will sign it into law.
Why doesn't anyone say, but who created the problem? And not even that. That bill was introduced 6 months ago, 3.5 years into their presidency.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Why are there no smart people?
But they're all enthralled, right? She said Donald Trump, and he made a face, and she decided that the reason that we have a border problem is because Donald Trump and that bill. Oh, really? That bill only came out as
6
a
months ago,
talking
maybe.
point
Yeah.
for the election. We know it was a bad bill. Hello, Maria Lupo. Vote no on Prop 1. I don't know what's up with her neck. I thought Jennifer would have honed in on that.
I noticed it already. She needs a necklace.
Okay. She's not elected, but placed in her position. Of course she was. She looks like she was choked. She does. Yeah, I know. It was a little
Choked
weird.
by lies.
Yeah, supposedly she's going to the border now. Supposedly this week she's going back to the border. She wasn't really at the border, but over the weekend I was with some Texas folks, and they tell me that the border towns are just demolished, absolutely demolished. Google, okay, we've heard about Leland Lee. Yeah, definitely a lying piece of dodging questions again. Yes, Trump 2020. Shamuda. Run on sentencing. Yeah, well, this is what we're going to get. I mean, this is insanity. I just can't even imagine. The border bill would have made refugee citizen status 20 million of them. Well, basically, now the executive order that he signed has done that. He's made them all refugees. So we are.
Oh, you want to hear something even better?
Yeah.
So now, if you aren't a citizen and you want to become one, if you can prove with a police report, and I know this firsthand, that you've been assaulted in any way, shape, or form, you get pushed to the front. So someone another gang member could have beat you up. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. So
you can show.
So they're all going to be filing police reports. I doubt it, because the criminals are not.
No, it has to be before.
Yeah, the criminals aren't going to be filing police reports. Listen, the majority of people that are in here are criminals now, and terrorists, and mental ward patients.
Remember where 9/11 happened? Homegrown terrorists.
Well, I hope you're right, Debbie. We all know it. Only expedited citizenship. And it gave them work permits, and it allowed their family to come and visit.
There's no more in-person interviews if you want to get married for a green card. They don't ask anything. 1 month passed.
Doesn't matter. Well, that was part of the border bill. The border bill was the fiance, the K-1 visa, that they could just automatically come over. The IRS endorsed it. I didn't know the IRS could endorse that. That was the result of Inflation Reduction Act. Oh, well, interesting that you talk about that, because we're going to talk about that in a minute. But here's the joke. So we heard the hoax. So here's the joke. Here's where it all started, and it had nothing to do with the border bill.
You remove the stain on the reputation.
With the stroke of his pen on Tuesday, President Joe Biden began the difficult process of rolling back some of former President Donald Trump's most controversial immigration policies, signing 3 executive orders, including one aimed at reuniting migrant children separated from their families.
We're going to work to undo the moral and national shame of the previous administration that literally, not figuratively, ripped children from the arms of their families, their mothers and fathers at the border.
From the Oval Office, Biden also ordered a review of asylum processing at the U.S.-Mexico border and the immigration system. Less than 2 weeks on the job, Biden has faced some criticism for the dozens of executive actions he's signed.
There's a lot of talk, with good reason, about the number of executive orders that I have signed. I'm not making new law. I'm eliminating bad policy.
Immigration advocates have urged the new Democratic administration to move quickly. But Biden aides say they need time to unravel layers of Trump-era immigration restrictions to put in place new, more migrant-friendly systems. As part of the actions on Tuesday, Biden will mandate a review of the Migrant Protection Protocols, a program that pushed 65,000 asylum seekers to Mexico to wait for U.S. court hearings. Biden's strategy is a cautious one. He's reversing hardline Trump policies while simultaneously trying to prevent a surge in illegal immigration.
Did you see what's happening now at the border with the children, the trafficking? They're repeatedly bringing the same child over with different birth certificates and getting in.
I did the same child?
Yeah, that's what I didn't get.
That doesn't make
Or
sense.
maybe the same birth certificate. I don't know.
Maybe lots of
No,
children
they said
with the same
recycling
birth
children. They
certificate.
said recycling children. So maybe they're, I don't know, putting them back over the fence. Like you used to do with your ID when you used to try and go out.
Well, I know that there was a situation that supposedly Homeland Security uncovered where one person was taking responsibility for thousands of migrants. Like you have to say your family members here or whatever, and the same person was signing. It was all part of the cartels and the coyotes, and the same person was vouching for thousands of people through the CPB One app. And so, it was all just, it's all just, they're gaming the system.
There's one man, Zachary, in Venezuela sitting there. He's the
You've
Scarface
been
of
saying
Venezuela.
this forever, Joe. You've been
I
saying
know,
it forever.
because I know I'm right.
Yeah.
I
Let's
know I'm
see.
right.
The only reason she's planning to go to the border because she's losing. Well, that's not going to help her. Going to the border is going to put the border front.
Wouldn't it be funny if someone just kicked her right across it and then they close it?
I hope she goes to the border and all the migrants go, Kamala, we're voting for you. That would be fantastic. Get that on tape. Trump acts on what he says. She just acts 100%. I mean, apparently that time with Montel Williams and all the Hollywood stars are really paying off for her. Those acting lessons are pretty good. What scares me is she's starting to believe her own lies.
Tammy, look who's here.
Oh, Tammy, how are you? What about the 300K missing children? Apparently that only mattered when Trump was president, and it was nowhere near that number. The children were only important, when it was a good prop for
They're
television.
missing. Yeah, he put them in cages. Now look what happens when you don't put them in cages. They're missing.
They're missing. Exactly. Okay, so here's a question on the economy that she doesn't answer. Watch.
Shelby from Virginia, who's also struggling with the cost of living. Tell us your story, Shelby. Why?
Hi, Madam Vice President. Hi, Oprah. I'm 24 years old. I'm a graduate student living with my parents, and I want to move out next year and potentially buy a home. And I'm concerned about the affordability of one with the extra costs and bills that I'm paying now, along with the bills and costs I will pay in the future too. And so everything just has a cost and everything is so expensive. And so I'm worried about my capacity and how I'm able to fully support myself once I do live independently.
You sound like one of my daughter girls from South Africa graduated. She was like, I hate adulting. I hate adulting. This adulting isn't going so well. Yes.
Well, so first of all, congratulations on all the success you've already achieved. And it is your story and the story of our friends before you is really, that's the American story, right? You are working hard, you have goals, you have ambitions. And so part of it is, again, the $25,000 down payment assistance. Part of it is what we need to do to also push back against a very different vision for our country. Because look, in this election, there are two very different visions for our country. One, for me, that is focused on the future, including you, and another that is focused on the past. What Donald Trump, what my opponent plans on doing for the economy is doing what he did the last time he was president and giving another tax break for billionaires and the biggest corporations that would add $5 trillion to our deficit. And get this, he plans on doing what I call a Trump sales tax, which is basically he's going to put a 20% tax on everyday necessities that economists have estimated will cost the average American $4,000 more a year, which is why Goldman Sachs, which is why Moody's, which is why Wharton School of Business, which is why 16 Nobel laureates have collectively determined, after analyzing our plans, one, mine would strengthen the economy, his would weaken it. Two, that on his plan, he would actually blow up inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. So when you think about the cost of living, my approach is about lifting you up. His would be about actually weakening our economy. And I feel very strongly when an individual, when a small business, when a family, when the middle class is strong, America is strong.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Thank you, Shelby. Thank you, Rachel and Garrett.
This could have all been eliminated if Oprah just stood up and goes, and you get a house, and you get a house, and you get a house, and you. The girl just said she can't afford to live right now. Now. It's now. Now.
It's now.
Not 4 years ago. Now.
It's now. And guess what?
Her parents were able to afford to send her to college, so they were okay.
Yeah. Well, how come she can't live right now? Who's in control right now? Who's in office right now? Well, here's why she can't live right now.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the bill, as amended, is passed.
The Inflation Reduction Act, also known as the IRA, committed $500 billion over the next 10 years toward clean energy and healthcare investments. We're talking about tax credits for electric vehicles, for improving your home energy consumption, and for companies that produce renewable energy. Also, insulin price caps, prescription drug reform, and Affordable Care Act subsidies. To pay for it, the IRA also included increased IRS enforcement and a 15% corporate minimum tax. But economists have been skeptical about attributing any drop in our inflation rate to the Inflation Reduction Act. In fact, not even President Biden appears to be making that claim anymore. At a recent fundraiser, he said, quote, "I wish I hadn't called it the Inflation Reduction Act because it has less to do with reducing inflation than it has to do with providing alternatives that generate economic growth."
Forget that. Does anyone realize that when you give a tax break to giant corporations, you're doing everyone a favor, because those are the corporations that give you health benefits. They give you dental. They give you 401k. So if they don't get those tax breaks, they close down, like Kmart. They have a couple stores left, one in Bridgehampton, they're closing down, it's gone. So all of those big corporations are out. So now it's going to be mom and pop stores who don't give you health care, don't give you 401k, they don't give you a retirement plan, you're done. So everyone's fucked.
Well, but that was the Biden-Harris answer to, battling inflation was the Inflation Reduction Act that gave $500 billion to clean energy.
And electric cars use more gas. Harvard and Yale did this study than a car that uses gas does. Does that make any sense? Because it does. It costs more. I'm sorry. It costs more. Costs more for an electric car, and their batteries are made in China, and they're mined, and they're horrible to the earth. Just so you know.
Well, economists, these so-called economists that she's talking about, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, we talked about this before. They are global economists. That means that they are really trying to create a global economy, not putting America first, but to create a global economy across the world, meaning our wages are going to go down, our dollar value is going to go down, and when Kamala and Biden, their answer to inflation was to give out more money. So they're going to give $25,000 for first-time home buyers. So guess what? The prices of homes are going to go up.
But that's been around forever. That's Fannie Mae, isn't it?
Whenever you give money, the government puts money into the economy, you have inflation. And everybody knows that. But we're going to take a look in a minute after I look at the comments on exactly what she was talking about with with Trump and the tariffs and all these things. We'll take a look in a minute on what actually happened back under the Trump administration with the tariffs and the tax rates for the tax breaks for the corporations. But let's look at the comments first. I can barely look at her. Actually, I enjoy looking at her. I can't listen to her.
She's very pretty.
She is very pretty. She's pretty, but I can't listen to her.
From Not
the head up.
Not the from the chin up.
For the chin up. Trump derangement syndrome must be causing Kamala's bumbling idiocy. Where did she come up with this shit? Well, they take sound bites and they run. She can buy some land in a Tesla boxable $100,000 home. Yeah, with that $25,000. The middle class gets poorer while Democrat policies are implemented. Always. The major corporations create jobs with compensation. Indeed. Well said, Jen. Yes, indeed. She's so smart. All corps are moving out. Yeah. So let's just remind ourselves. This is just 2018. I want you to know 2019 and 2020 were even better. Even with COVID, our economy was better. But I thought I'd take the first year after Trump implemented all of his policies, and I would show you what the news was reporting while Trump was doing all the things he says he's going to do again. Watch.
2018 kicked off with a bang on Wall Street, with the major indices setting records one after another. On the very first trading day of the year, the Nasdaq opened and closed above 7,000 points for the very first time in history, followed quickly by the S&P 500 passing 2,700 points the next day. But on the third trading day, this.
For the first time in history, up 105 in 9 minutes of trading to push it over that mark that we have never seen before.
And then just 13 days later,
the stock market continues to see record gains under President Trump as the new milestone is reached on Wall Street. For the first time in the country's history, the Dow Jones closed higher than 26,000 points today.
The president became laser focused on trade in March, announcing his intention to impose 25% tariffs on imported steel and 10% tariffs on imported aluminum on the first day of the month, and signing the proclamation just a week later.
The president's signing of the proclamation implementing tariffs on steel and aluminum imports has been met with praise from some conservatives in Congress, but criticism from others. Yet one thing everyone can agree on is that it's time for America to finally address major deficits in trade.
Amid the tariffs, this.
This is Gary Cohn's last meeting in the cabinet and of the cabinet, and he's been terrific. He may be a globalist, but I still like him.
The president's top economic advisor was out after disagreeing with the new steel and aluminum import duties. President Trump quickly replaced Cohn with CNBC contributor Larry Kudlow.
I don't think the president wants a trade war. I think he's sending a signal that he wants to deal with unfair trading practices.
With Cohn out and Kudlow in, the president set out to tackle trade even further.
President Trump officially announces new tariffs on Chinese imports as his administration pushes for free and fair trade.
Amid the trade actions, the U.S. added 103,000 jobs in March, with the unemployment rate holding steady for the sixth month in a row, prompting the Fed to hike rates for the first time in 2018. The end of March also marked the end of quarter one, with U.S. GDP growth hitting 2% for the beginning of the year. August kicked off with a bang on Wall Street.
Apple officially wins the race to $1 trillion in market value.
The iPhone maker became the first publicly traded U.S. company in history to hit the $1 trillion mark. And Wall Street kept up the growth throughout the month, with the Nasdaq surpassing 8,000 points for the first time in history, before hitting its all-time high of 8,109 points, while the S&P 500 surged past 2,900 points. The market growth was spurred by trade wins, as the president negotiated a new deal with Mexico to replace what he called the worst trade deal ever negotiated. As the U.S. added 200,000 jobs in August, the number of job openings hit an all-time high of 7.3 million, with employers struggling to find new hires amid the record low unemployment. Small business optimism also surged to an all-time high of 108.8 in August, as U.S. business owners saw the benefits of the Trump administration's tax cuts and deregulatory efforts. The growth in big tech stocks continued into September, with Amazon chasing Apple to the $1 trillion market cap on the second trading day of the month. The S&P then hit its all-time high of 2,930 points later in the month. Meantime,
we've placed massive tariffs on China, and the tariffs have really had a positive impact.
The president imposed his largest round of tariffs yet against China, taxing $200 billion worth of imports. He also signed a revised trade deal with South Korea. Consumer confidence surged to an 18-year high of 138.4 in September as the U.S. added 134,000 jobs and the unemployment rate fell to 3.7%. The continuing growth pushed the Fed to hike rates for the third time, and the third quarter GDP growth hit 3.7%, keeping the U.S. on track to surpass the president's goal for 3% on the year. The beginning of October saw the Dow hitting its all-time high of 26,828 points, pushed by trade optimism following the announcement of the USMCA. And the Trump administration's deregulation efforts surpassed expectations.
A new report from the White House Budget Office shows this year alone, the president has saved $23 billion and $33 billion since taking office.
The unemployment rate held steady at 3.7% in October as the U.S. added 250,000 jobs. All focus was on the G20 summit throughout the month of November as President Trump prepared to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
We'll be discussing trade, and I think at some point we are going to end up doing something which is great for China and great for the United States.
President Trump sat down for a working dinner with the president of China amid the months-long trade war. The two agreed to a 90-day trade truce to work on a more free and fair trade deal. The final jobs report to be released in 2018 showed the U.S. adding 155,000 jobs in November and the unemployment rate holding steady at 3.7%. The sustained growth throughout 2018 pushed the Fed to hike rates one final time to a base range of 2.25 to 2.5%.
And when he tariffed them higher, that's when they sent COVID over so that we couldn't work and we'd have to trade with them. And that's probably what happened.
100% is what happened.
They're like, wow, we'll get you.
But there were more jobs.
They shipped over some high tariffed COVID. We all got it and nobody could work.
Nobody could work. But and when China and after COVID, China skyrocketed in job creation and manufacturing. So, you're not wrong. That's exactly what happened.
I know. I just realized it.
And, there was a situation that was going on in that first year of the Trump administration where there were more jobs than there were people willing to take the jobs. That doesn't mean that there were there were no people to take the jobs. There were people who were refusing to take the jobs. Yeah. But think about them. I mean, it's crazy what happened. Yeah, she is right. She's absolutely right. But there now Cohen, okay, was I believe he's with BlackRock. I'm almost sure he's with BlackRock. He's a globalist. Yes, so again, the whole goal is to destroy the Americans with their pesky human rights, workers' rights, unions, all these things, to level out the playing field of what you have to pay to produce products. And that's what the global economy will do. It will take everything away from America and put it in other hands.
Besides the migrants.
Well, hence the migrants here is they're not only here, but they're flooding Paris,
everywhere, Italy,
Germany, France, Italy, everywhere. It's all part of the
not Russia. They're not there.
Not Russia, no. And all of this is just going to push Russia, Iran, China to become the top nations. It's
going to be like if you ever saw White Man's Burden.
That's
it was
right.
A flip on the world of social, of how the social world was of black and white. And it was flipped. The tables were turned. And that's exactly what's going to happen. John Travolta knew it.
You can see it happening already. That's why people are so angry. The Democrats like to, get us with, the hatred and everybody unite. And no, you can't. Everybody is frustrated. They see it. They see it with their own eyes, but they're being lied to by the press. They're being lied to by their government. They're being lied to by the quote unquote deep state. And we are smart enough, those of us who think and get off our phone and actually discuss things and look at things, as you just rightly said, Jennifer. He was going after China, so China came back at us. And they came back at us with the help of our own government.
Quietly.
Through Fauci, right? They were
Very
able
quietly.
to do it through Fauci. So
Not
you
only
know,
did we lose money with that, having to import, we also had to pay all of our people to stay home and do nothing.
That's right. But the interesting thing is in 2020, we had a bounce back and the economy started to come back, and it was coming back faster in America than anywhere else. If Trump was reelected in 2021, we would have seen that total recovery
They
because
took
he would
credit
have
for it.
stayed with what he was doing.
They took
But
credit for it. We did see
as you saw with Biden overturning all of the Trump policies, letting people in at the border was the fastest way to undermine our economy, because that forced the big cities to spend money, that forced everybody to spend money that they didn't have in a time post-COVID. So it was very calculated what Biden did, and it was all for the same purpose, for the globalist economy. And there you go. And Trump knows it, and we know it. Okay, so we don't want to go over. So I have two more. Here's Kamala Harris talking about guns.
I think for far too long on the issue of gun violence, some people have been pushing a really false choice to suggest you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I'm in favor of assault weapons bans, universal background checks, red flag laws. And these are just common sense. These are just common sense.
I thought it was so powerful at the convention when you said you have guns. No, at the debate.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
You sound like a drunk, you drunk friend. Like, wait, can you rewind it to that girl beating her dad up, whoever that was, that wasn't clapping? Please go back.
Yeah, no, she got shot in the school in the Georgia high school shooting, and they shot her hand off, and so she couldn't clap. So she was trying to get her dad to.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I thought she was.
I know.
I thought you were hitting him because he wasn't clapping.
Yeah, right. She was trying to.
God, just shut up.
Yeah, she was trying to get him to pick up his hand so she could clap with him. She did it with her mom.
Thanks.
That's okay, Jen. If it wasn't for awkward moments, the show would have a lot more viewers. Kamala, yeah, well, I have that clip. So hold on a second. I'll show it to you. Everybody took away the guns. Well, let's hear what Kamala had to say back in 2007.
So, Madam Vice President.
Wrong one.
It's people who own guns who are quietly sitting on those guns, and those guns might end up being the weapons of the destruction of a community because they get in the hands of some kid who decides that they like what they see on television and they want to act that way. So this is about just basically saying that we're going to require responsible behaviors among everybody in the community, and just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs.
Are you for defunding the police?
How are you defining defund the police?
Well, I'm not for anything remotely for that, so I would ask the protesters the same thing. But I assume I assume, and again, this is something that is new to me, I assume it's removing police, and as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar said, bringing in a whole new way of governing and a law and order into a community. And my understanding, again, this is something that has just come into my understanding recently, is that you would not have police officers, like this Minneapolis City Councilwoman said, that I would be a place of privilege if someone broke into my home and I wanted to call the police.
So, again, we need to reimagine how we are achieving public safety in America. And to have cities where 1/3 of their entire budget is going to policing, but yet there is a dire need in those same cities for mental health resources, for resources going into public schools, resources going into job training and job creation. Come on, we have to be honest about this, that there is actually not a consensus around this, because if there were, we would actually see smarter distribution of resources in our country.
So she wants to take away your guns, and she wants to reimagine the police department. She wants to give the money that for the cops to other areas. So there you go. She's not taking away anyone's guns. Military assault weapons were banned in 1920. She wants all semi-automatics banned and taken. Yeah. Democrats shut down all mental institutions starting in the 80s. They certainly did. Do it, Jen.
No, I was going to kill myself, Tammy.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, well. So that was her, I have another clip of her, of this young couple asking her a question about the economy. You want to see that too?
Yes.
All right, we'll end on this one.
Okay.
So, Madam Vice President, we are, like many, many young Americans, just experiencing a very high cost of living. We ended up giving up our apartment, moving in with our parents, who were so gracious to take us in for over a year so that we could save money and ultimately buy a home, because that's what we thought the American dream was, to get married and buy a home and have a baby. And now here we are, and our mortgage is incredibly higher than what we thought it would be. And my sister and our brother-in-law are living with us right now so that they can hopefully one day do the same. And while it's beneficial for us because they help us pay off some of our mortgage, it's also beneficial for them because they can save on cheaper rent. But we really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both for being here. And yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family, and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been. And we need to deal with that. And there are a number of ways. One is bringing down the cost of everyday necessities, including groceries. So that's why I'm taking on, for example, price gouging, which is when, most companies and corporations are good, but for those bad ones, they take advantage of people, especially during a pandemic or extreme weather, and they end up jacking up prices, and there needs to be accountability and consequence for that. So I'm going to be taking on price gouging. But it's also about dealing with what we need to do around home ownership, right? So as someone mentioned during this film, look, I grew up a child of a mother who worked very hard. She raised me and my sister, and she saved up, and by the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy a home. And we grew up actually for a long time in an apartment on top of a child care center that was owned by the woman we called our second mother, because she helped my mother raise us. And she was a small business owner, Miss Shelton. So I'll bring all this together to tell you the way I think about it is, one, when people work hard and have a dream of buying a home, we should give you the opportunity to be able to do that, which is why part of my plan is for first-time homeowners, buyers, to have a $25,000 down payment assistance to buy your first home. Because people just need to be able to get their foot in the door, and then you'll do the hard work. Part of my plan is what we need to do to support small businesses, because my second mother was a small business owner, and I love our small businesses and our small business owners. They are not only business leaders, they are community leaders. They mentor, they hire locally, and we have so many entrepreneurs in our country who have great ideas, incredible work ethic, but not necessarily access to capital, because not everybody, like my opponent, was handed $400 million on a silver plate that he filed bankruptcy 6 times on. And so part of my plan is to give startup small businesses a $50,000 tax deduction to start up their small business. Right now it's $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So that's part of my plan.
That's a teeny tiny business.
That's a business in
teeny tiny business.
It's a concept of a business, right?
Yes.
You know where I'm going. That's right. And
it's still on paper with the $5,000.
Right.
It's still on paper.
It just hasn't happened, right? Part of to speak to you guys and your family and your dreams is what we need to do around giving middle-class families tax breaks. And so part of my plan is also to extend and expand the child tax credit to $6,000 so that you can, in the first year of your child's life, have the resources to be able to buy a crib and a car seat and clothes for your baby, knowing that's such an extraordinarily important time in their development, and you shouldn't have to worry about how you're going to take care of their basic needs. All of this and more is part of what I plan to build, and I call it an opportunity economy. And it's basically about creating opportunities, knowing so many people have the ambition, have the aspirations, are working hard, but just need opportunity to reach their goals and their dreams.
I saw you smiling with that $25,000 credit for the home. I saw that smile on your face and the $6,000. Thank you all so much. I want to just introduce too.
Not real people. It's rubber.
Well, Corey rightly says they don't qualify for the first homeowners plan she's proposing. Right, because they already bought their house. I also want to say that for some reason, Facebook did it again.
has been around all the time where you don't need, if you meet the criteria, you don't have to leave a down payment.
Oh, you mean for first-time home buyers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's been around. Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time.
It's not new.
It's been around since Bush, actually, since George W. Bush.
Yeah.
But their faces when she was, going through all of this bullshit that didn't apply for them, and then she got, the next question was the girl who she started trashing Trump on the tariffs. So she doesn't answer the questions. At the end of the day, I don't know who got anything out of that because she didn't answer any questions.
I would love to hear the fact checks, because Trump, when he was going bankrupt with his casinos, his father, Fred, went and bet $1 million and lost. And you know what he did? Threw the money away. He did not take it. The $1 million that his father left him to get him out of trouble, didn't take it from the casino. And that's a fact. So I don't know what she's talking about, $400 million on a silver platter. That's not what happened.
No, his father, his first building was downtown
Tiffany.
in Manhattan.
Tiffany's.
No,
Tiffany.
it wasn't. It's still there now. It's the Grand Hyatt on 42nd Street.
That's where
in New
Tiffany's
York.
is.
And he got the Hyatt to buy in order to get the money to build the place.
And then did tax loopholes and they did a smart businessman move.
Yeah. Well, your grandmother says that here we go printing up money again. I want to tell you just one thing. I'm sorry, but Facebook is doing it again. I thought I fixed it, but I see there's tons of comments on one of my pages that are not coming through here. And I don't know why. I will try to get to the bottom of it, but Ramon is saying refund the police. Kevin Young is saying Harris is a nutcase. Colleen left us, I guess, because we weren't answering her comments. Recently saw the professor recently saw a Muslim police car on Broadway by the zoo. Looked just like NYPD car. Also saw Chinese police. So what's up with that? Well, that's been going on for a while. These ethnic groups having their own police in New York City. It's crazy. Debbie Lebedo, price gauging is not happening now. She grew up in Canada, which she absolutely did. Kamala, you take, Kevin Young is saying, Kamala, you take on price gouging. The professor, there are laws on the books preventing price fixing. Yes, there is. Debbie is saying 25,000 assistance. They can't pay your bills, and that's the truth. So I'm sorry again for all of our friends that were commenting and we couldn't get it up on the page. I will try to fix it for next week. I'm not quite sure why they're screwing with us. Maybe it's because we tell the truth. Maybe it's because we fact check Kamala. I don't know. But I'm sorry that I'm not able to see them here. Jen, I'm going to give you the last word because I promised not to go over, and we're over.
I'm going to go play.
Okay. God bless you all. We're going to keep on going with this fact checking Kamala since the press won't. So we'll see you next week and we'll get you some more information. I hope you all enjoyed the show. We love having you. Thank you so very much. See you next Tuesday. And thank you, Bear Nuts. I'm very glad that you enjoy it and that it's informative. Please share it wherever you are. X, Rumble, share it. Because there are some clips in here that I think if people saw, it would make them think, especially independents. So whenever we can give independents some information and give them a nudge, I think we should. All right. Love you all. And we'll see you next Tuesday.